everybody. Welcome to this episode of Hood Paranormal. And today we will read a few chapters out of the Hermetica, the Lost Wisdom of the Pharaohs, by Timothy Freakay and Peter Gandy. Discover the secret teachings at the heart of Western thought. The figure of Hermes was venerated as a great and mythical teacher in the ancient world and was rediscovered by some of the finest minds of the Renaissance. The writings attributed to his hand are a time capsule of Egyptian and Greek esoteric philosophy and have influenced figures including Blake, Newton, Milton, Shelley, Shakespeare, Botticelli, Leonardo da Vinci, and Jung. Here is the first true accessible compendium of the mystical philosophy attributed to the legendary sage god Hermes Trismegistus, Greek for thrice greatest Hermes. A combination of the Egyptian thought and the Greek Hermes, the Hermetica is a fascinating introduction to the intersection of the Egyptian and Hellenic cultures and the magical religious ideal of the antique world. It is an essential and illuminating value for anyone interested in understanding the West roots in Egyptian and esoteric thought. Let's get to it. And please like and subscribe if you like the content, and thank you. In this chapter, Hermes describes the nature of pure philosophy, but laments that in future generations it will become all but lost. The philosophy that Hermes teaches is not just a clever intellectual exercise. It is about focusing the mind in deep meditation on Atum, an ancient Egyptian name for God. Such pure philosophy is about rising above mere opinions to experience directly the mind of the universe. Using the God-given gift of our own little minds, we can come to know the big mind that creates and maintains the cosmos in beautiful order. For Hermes, spiritual philosophy is not opposed to science, as it often is for us today. The student of spiritual philosophy studies sciences as a form of devotion to God. Through understanding the secrets of the natural world, he is overcome with a sense of awe and reverence for the Creator. He appreciates the perfect order of the universe as if he were listening to a grand symphony in which every melody has been exquisitely combined to compose one magnificent harmony. Hermes prophesies, however, that this spiritual philosophy will one day become lost and confused. Speaking from our distant past, he uncannily describes the predicament we find ourselves in today. Pure philosophy has been replaced by the teachings of clever intellectuals with no mystical understanding of life. People have ceased to see the universe as a source of wonder and no longer revere it as the work of God. Spirituality has come to be dismissed by science as primitive superstitions. The profound wisdom of the ancient Egyptians is thought of as a dead religion and as little more than an archaeological curiosity. Hermes foretells that Egypt, once the home of spirituality, will become a desolate place, deserted by the gods. Out of compassion for future generations, Hermes writes his wisdom in books and orders them to be hidden. Like a time capsule of truth, Hermes' vision waits for its chance to awaken future generations who are lost and bewildered by life, people such as ourselves. The prophecies of Hermes. Pure philosophy is spiritual striving through constant contemplation to attain true knowledge of Atum, the one God. But speaking now in prophecy, I say that in times to come no one will pursue philosophy with single-mindedness and purity of heart. Those with a grudging and ungenerous temperament will try and prevent men discovering the priceless gift of immortality. Philosophy will become confused, making it hard to comprehend. It will be corrupted by spurious speculations. It will be entangled with bewildering sciences like arithmetic, music, and geometry. The student of pure philosophy studies the sciences not as fanciful theories, but as devotion to Atum. Because they reveal a universe perfectly ordered by the power of number, because measuring the depths of the sea and forces of fire and magnitudes of physical things leads to a reverent awe at the Creator's skill and wisdom, because the mysteries of music bear witness to the unsurpassed talent of the supreme artist, who has beautifully harmonized all things into a single whole, suffused with sweet melodies. To simply love Atum to simply love Atum in thought with singleness of heart, and to follow the goodness of his will. This is philosophy, unsullied by intrusive cravings for pointless opinions. But I foresee that in times to come, clever intellectuals will mislead the minds of men, turning them away from pure philosophy. It will be taught that our sacred devotion was ineffectual, and the heartfelt piety, and excuse me, assiduous service with which we Egyptians honor Atum was a waste without reward. Egypt is an image of heavens, and the whole cosmos dwells here, in this its sanctuary. But the gods will desert the earth and return to heaven, abandoning this land that was once the home of spirituality. Egypt will be forsaken and desolate, bereft of the presence of gods. It will be overrun by foreigners who will neglect our sacred ways. This holy land of temples and shrines will be filled with corpses and funerals. The sacred Nile will be swollen with blood, and her waters will rise utterly fouled with gore. Does this make you weep? There is worse to follow. The land that was the spiritual teacher to all humankind, which loved the gods with such devotion that they designed the sojourn here on earth. This land will exceed all others in cruelty. The dead will far outnumber the living, and the survivors will be known as Egyptians by their language alone. For in their actions they will be like men of another race. O Egypt, nothing will remain of your religion but an empty tale, which even your own children will not believe. Nothing will be felt to tell of your wisdom but old graven stones. Men will be weary of life, and will cease seeing the universe as worthy of reverent wonder. Spirituality, the greatest of all blessings, will be threatened with extinction and believed a burden to be scorned. The world will no longer be loved as an incomparable work of Atum, a glorious monument in his primal goodness, an instrument of the divine will to evoke veneration and praise in the beholder. Egypt will be widowed. Every sacred voice will be silenced. Darkness will be preferred to light. No eyes will raise to heaven. The pure will be thought insane, and the impure will be honored as wise. The madman will be believed brave, and the wicked esteemed as good. Knowledge of the immortal soul will be laughed at and denied. No reverent words worthy of heaven will be heard or believed. So, I, thrice great Hermes, the first of men to attain all knowledge, have inscribed the secrets of the gods in sacred symbols and holy hieroglyphs On these stone tablets which I have concealed for a future world that may seek our sacred wisdom, through all seeing minds, I myself have been witness of the invisible things of heaven, and through contemplation come to knowledge of the truth. This knowing I have set down in these writings. The initiating of Hermes. In this chapter, Hermes describes a mystical vision of creation of the cosmos, upon which all his later teachings are based. Hermes derives his wisdom from a dramatic mystical revelation. While his mind is alert, yet still and empty, he hears God speaking to him. Hermes asks to be shown the true nature of reality, and suddenly everything begins to change before him. In a mysterious vision, he witnesses the creation of the world. This vision is not meant to be understood intellectually, but contemplated like an image from a dream. However, we can explore a little of its deep meaning. Hermes' first experience is of an awe-embracing divine light, which as he watches cast a shadow like restless waters. Later he is told that this light is the mind of God. And I saw the boundless view. All became dissolved in light, united within one joyous love. Yet the light cast a shadow, grim and terrible, which passing downwards became like restless water, chaotically tossing forth spume like smoke. And I heard an unspeakable lament, an inarticulate cry of separation. The light then uttered a word, which calmed the chaotic waters. My guide asked, "Do you understand the secrets of this vision? I am that light, the mind of God, which exists before the chaotic dark waters of potentiality. My calming words is the Son of God, the ideal of beautiful order, the harmony of all things with all things. Primal mind is parent of the word, just as in your own experience, your human mind gives birth to speech. They cannot be divided, one from the other. For life is the union of mind and word. Now fix your attention upon the light and become one with it." When he had said this, he looked into me, eye to eye, until trembling, I saw and thought limitless power within the light, to form an infinite yet ordered world, and I was amazed. I saw in the darkness of the deep, chaotic water without form, permeated with a subtle, intelligent breath of divine power. Atum's word fell on the fertile waters, making them pregnant with all forms. Ordered by the harmony of the word, the four elements came into being, combining to create the brood of living creatures. The fiery elements are articulated as the constellations of the stars and the gods of the seven heavenly bodies, revolving forever in celestial circles. The word then leaped up from the elements of nature and reunited with the mind, the maker, leaving mere matter devoid of intelligence. My guide said, "You have perceived the boundless primal ideal, which is before the beginning by Atum's will. The elements of nature were born as reflections of this primal thought in the waters of potentiality. These are the primal things, the prior things, the first principles of all in the universe. Atum's word is the creative ideal, the supreme limitless power which nurtures and provides for all the things that through it are created. I have shown you everything. Why do you wait? Write the wisdom you have understood in hieroglyphic characters, carved on stone in the holy sanctuary. Make yourself a spiritual guide to those worthy of the gift of knowledge, so that through you Atum may save humankind." I was overwhelmed with gratitude to the All-Father, who had graced me with the supreme vision. In awe and reverence, I prayed, "Please never let me fall away from this knowledge of your being, so that I may enlighten those who are in darkness." Then, with his power in me, I began to speak. The Aloft laughed at my words, but others knelt at my feet. I told them to stand and receive the seeds of wisdom, as I will sow in you with these teachings. So listen, men of clay. If you do not pay keen attention, my words will fly past you and wing their way back to the source from which they come. The being of Atum. In this chapter, Hermes attempts to describe God, Atum. Although God cannot be defined with words, Hermes gives some clues for us to contemplate. God is oneness. Everything is the part of one supreme being. Like the number one, which is the source of all subsequent numbers, God is the source of all. Yet just as when the number one is divided or multiplied by itself, it remains one. So God consistently remains the oneness because he unites everything. His nature is paradoxical. He is the creator who creates himself. He is always hidden from us, yet he is also the world around us. He has no particular name because all names refer to him. God is the supreme mind. He is everywhere and always. The human mind is an image of the supreme mind. Through the power of the imagination, it can roam the universe and be like God in all times and all places. Hermes tells us that if we truly understood the extraordinary power of the human mind, we would then know the nature of God. Everything exists as an ideal within the mind of God. He creates all things in the same way that our own mind creates thoughts. Just as the nature of mind is to think, so the nature of God is to create. This is not something he did at the beginning of time. He is doing it continuously. God is constantly creating creation and will never stop. God is both the material objects around us and the immaterial thoughts in our minds. The world we see and sense is an illusion. However, compared to the great ideal which only exists in the mind, above all are the ideals of goodness and beauty. These qualities belong to God alone. They can at best be found imperfectly in the material world, but exist in all their perfections in the immaterial world of the mind. They are so perfect that God is in love with them. God is in love with himself. The being Atum. Give me your whole awareness and concentrate your thoughts, for knowledge of Atum's being requires deep insight, which comes only as a gift of grace. It is like a plunging torrent of water whose swiftness outstrips any man who strives to follow it, leaving behind not only hearer, but even the teacher himself. To conceive of Atum is difficult. To define him is impossible. The imperfect and impermanent cannot easily apprehend the eternal perfected. Atum is whole and constant. In himself he is motionless, yet he is self-moving. He is immaculate, incorruptible, and everlasting. He is the supreme absolute reality. He is filled with ideals which are imperceptible to the senses. And with all-embracing knowledge, Atum is primal mind. He is too great to be called the name Atum. He is hidden, yet obviously everywhere. His being is known through thought alone. Yet we see his form before our eyes. He is bodiless, yet embodied in everything. There is nothing which he is not. He has no name, because all names are his name. He is the unity in all things, so we must know him by all names and call everything Atum. He is the root and source of all. Everything hath a source, except the source itself, which springs from nothing. Atum is complete like the number one, which remains itself, whether multiplied or divided, and yet generates all numbers. Atum is the whole, which contains everything. He is one, not two. He is all, not many. The all is not many separate things, but the oneness that subsumes the parts. The all and the one are identical. You think that things are many when you view them as separate, but when you see that they all hang on the one and flow from the one, you will realize they are united, linked together, and connected by a chain of being, from the highest to the lowest, all subject to the will of Atum. The cosmos is one as the sun is one. The moon is one as the earth is one. Do you think there are many gods? That's absurd. God is one. Atum alone is the creator of all that is immortal and all that is mutable. If that seems incredible, just consider yourself. You see, speak, hear, touch, taste, walk, think, and breathe. It is not a different you who does these various things, but one being who does them all. To understand how Atum makes all things, consider a farmer sowing seeds. Here wheat, there barley, now planting a vine, then an apple tree. Just as the same man plants all these seeds, so Atum sows immortality in heaven and changes on earth. Throughout the cosmos, he disseminates life and movement, the two great elements that comprise Atum and his creation, and so everything that is. Atum is called Father because he begets all things, and from his example, the wise hold begetting children, the most sacred pursuit of human life. Atum works with nature within the laws of necessity, causing extinction and renewal, constantly creating creation to display his wisdom. Yet the thing that the eyes can see are merely phantoms and illusions. Only those things invisible to the eye are real. Above all are the ideals of beauty and goodness. Just as the eyes cannot see the being of Atum, so it cannot see the great ideals. They are attributes of Atum alone and are inseparable from him. They are so perfectly without blemish that Atum himself is in love with them. There is nothing which Atum lacks, so nothing that he desires. There is nothing that Atum can lose, so nothing can cause him grief. Atum is everything. Atum makes everything, and everything is a part of Atum. Atum therefore makes himself. This is Atum's glory. He is all creative, and this creating is his very being. It is impossible for him ever to stop creating, for Atum can never cease to be. Atum is everywhere. Mind cannot be enclosed because everything exists within mind. Nothing is so quick and powerful. Just look at your own experience. Imagine yourself in any foreign land, and quick as your intentions, you will be there. Think of the ocean, and there you are. You have not moved as things move, but you have traveled nevertheless. Fly up into the heavens. You won't need wings. Nothing can obstruct you, not the burning heat of the sun or the swirling planets. Pass on to the limits of creation. Do you want to break out beyond the boundaries of the cosmos? For your mind, even that is possible. Can you sense what power you possess? If you can do all this, then what about your creator? Try and understand that Atum is mind. This is how he contains the cosmos. All things are thoughts, which the creator thinks. Okay, everybody, that's it for today. I'll continue the next part on the next episode. Just remember, knowledge is power. And good magic. We out.